talk about spheres. So we're going to talk about volume and surface area and the parts of a sphere. So this first one is pointing to this long line that's going all the way through our sphere. This is our diameter because it's going from one edge to the other. So this is our diameter. And then we have our radius. Okay, we have that dot, which is the center. And then we have this dotted line that's going all the way around. This is what's called our great circle. Okay, so a sphere is a solid in which each point is equidistant from the center point. The great circle slices the sphere into two hemispheres. Okay, so it says find the volume of each sphere below. Our volume is off to the side here. The formula is 4/3 pi times the radius cubed. All right, so we have our radius, which is the only thing we need, so we'll just fill in our formula. 4/3 pi times the radius cubed. There's a few of you that keep switching pi and your radius, like you're cubing pi instead of your radius or squaring pi. Make sure your radius is the thing being raised to the power. Okay, you don't have to do anything besides type this into your calculator. And when you do, you get 1436.76. And since this is area, this will be inches cubed. Okay, number 2 is also asking for the volume. Now, right now we're given the diameter because it's going all the way across. So we're going to cut that in half. Half of 33 would be 16.5. So our formula is going to be 4/3 pi times 16.5 cubed. And when we type this into our calculator, we get 18,816.57 centimeters cubed. Okay, next we're going to jump to surface area. Same thing, you have a formula for surface area. It's just 4 pi times the radius squared. We have our radius, so just filling that in, 4 pi times 2.8 squared. Okay, and then I can just type that into my calculator. Go away. 98.52 meters, and this is area, so it is squared. Okay, on number 4, I'm given a diameter, so I need to cut that in half first. So half of 24 is 12. And then I'm looking for surface area, so this will be 4 pi times 12 squared. Please make sure you pay attention to whether you're looking for volume or surface area. So we get 1809.56 millimeters squared. All right, a hemisphere is like a half of a sphere, and we have 2 formulas for that as well. So again, just pay attention to what it's asking for. This one's asking for volume, so we're going to use our formula for volume. Formula for volume is 2/3 pi times the radius, which is 5 cubed. Okay, when I type this in, I get 216. Oh, just kidding. Dyslexia got me for a minute there. 261.8. And that's volume, so it's cubed. All right, going over to the back. We're still looking for volume on this one. It gave us the diameter, so we're going to cut that in half. Half of 18 is 9. So using that formula from the front, we're going to say 2/3 pi times 9 cubed, which is 1526.81, and this would be feet cubed. All right, now we're doing surface area. So if you look at the front of your paper, the formula for surface area of a hemisphere is 3 pi r squared. So we have the radius, so we're just going to do 3 pi times 14 squared, which is 1847.26. All right, last one before applications. We are given the diameter, so we're going to cut that in half. 12.2 divided by 2 is 6.1. And my formula is going to be 3 pi times 6.1 squared. Okay, which will be 350.7 centimeters squared. All right, so now we're going to do some application problems or working backwards. It says find the volume of a sphere with a great circle area of 201 square inches. Okay, so the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. And we know that the area is 201.06. Okay, so what we're going to do is our first job is going to be to divide that by pi. When we do, we get 64. Okay, and the square root of 64 is 8. So I know my radius is 8. So now that I have my radius, I can find my volume. My volume is going to be 4/3 pi times the radius cubed, which is 2144.66 inches cubed. Find the surface area of the figure to the left. All right. Surface area. We have a hemisphere and we have a cone. All right, I'm going to start with a hemisphere because it's easier. Okay, so surface area of the hemisphere is 3 pi. All right, my radius here, 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. Okay, so 3 pi times 4.5 squared. Hold on just a second. All right, 3 times pi times 4.5 squared. Sorry about that. That's going to be 190.85. Okay, then I'm going to find the surface area of that cone. So our formula for surface area of a cone is pi r squared plus pi rh, or pi rl. Okay, so we're going to do pi times the radius squared plus pi times the radius times that lateral, which is 13. There are other ways you can do this. Like you could have found the lateral surface area. We're going to end up taking some stuff off here in just a second. Okay, so then we're going to find that number. and that's going to be 247.4. Okay, but then I need to think about if this is the surface area of this, I have this circle that's in here, and I'm taking two pieces and I'm putting them together. So I've counted this circle on the hemisphere, and I've counted this circle on the cone, but I actually don't need either of them. So I need to figure out what the area of that circle is. So the area of that circle is going to be pi times 4.5 squared. Which is 63.62. Okay, so, and I actually have two of these, so I'm going to multiply this by 2, which is 127.23. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two together, and then I'm going to subtract this one. Okay, so I'm going to do 190.85 plus 247.4 minus 127.23. I'm going to get 311.02. And this will be meters squared. Alright. The Henleys have a silo on their farm to store grain. Assuming the entire space is used, what is the maximum amount of grain the silo can hold? So if we're talking about filling it up, that means we're talking about volume. So first, let's find volume of the cylinder. Alright, so there's a few things that we need to do on our cylinder here. We need the height of our cylinder. So the entire height is 45. But this, since that diameter is 22, if I cut that in half, 22 divided by 2 is 11. So this part of it is 11, which means this height is 34. Okay, so I'm going to start by finding the volume of that cylinder. The way I find the volume of the cylinder is pi times the radius squared times the height, which is 34. Okay, so pi times 11 times 34, which is 12,924.51. Okay, and then I'm going to find the volume of that hemisphere. The volume of the hemisphere is 2/3 pi times 11 cubed. Which is 2787.64. And then I'm just going to add these two together. And when I add them together, I get 15,712.15 feet cubed. And that's it for volume of cylinders and spheres. So hopefully you have time to work on your assignment, and I will see y'all at the beginning of next week.